Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the slingshot effect, and this has been something that I have been really diving deep into within my own journey. And basically the slingshot effect in my eyes is that period of time where you're wanting to get through that breakthrough period, and sometimes we can desire and want to get through that breakthrough so bad because we are so uncomfortable in the current situation we are in, and we're at a point where we're at our wits' ends. Sometimes I feel like we have to go backwards in order to be catapulted forward. And so through my journey, I'm learning that just because you might need to go back and reprioritize some things and redo some things and restructure some things, don't let your ego get you to a point where you don't want to go backwards because you have too much pride. Because at the end of the day, when you do that, you are, I would say, stunting your growth. And what I've learned here on this journey of life, sorry if you hear my dog, I'm learning that because I lost a parent and I never really dealt with the loss of my parent, when it came down to dealing with the grief of losing my mom, the idea of crying it out and facing my problems, it kind of hit me in a prideful way, and it hit my ego in a way that like I thought I already dealt with this. You know, I thought that I already got through that. And no, it wasn't the fact that I got through it. It was the fact that I was able to have that be my truth and move on with life without processing it. I was able to suppress it. So when it came down to actually experiencing the grief and the pain of losing my mom, I had to humble myself. And I think that a lot of times us as humans, we don't want to humble ourselves and put us in a position that we thought we got out of. But at the end of the day, this life thing is not, I'm learning, me specifically, to myself personally, I'm learning that this life journey is not linear, and it's not supposed to look any type of way you think it's supposed to look. We think that something's supposed to be this way, or life is supposed to turn out this way, or this phase in our life is supposed to be this way. I'm learning that you don't know what phase you don't know all the ins and outs of life, and just keep it that way and be able to settle in that energy, knowing that I may not know everything that's coming my way, but I can be fine with that. And I believe that gives you a certain type of peace. If you were to be living in a state of constantly wanting to know and figure out things, which is what I am personally coming out of, you're gonna lose your mind, which I got to a point where I almost was losing my mind, and I had to really go backwards, reprioritize some things in my life that was really weighing me down. Because sometimes we just don't know, because we operate a certain way for so long that that's just how we've always operated. So when it's time to change, our feelings of stability is being rocked. We don't know what's happening. We think that something's wrong, something's off, but really is that you're just going through the motions in the change. Sometimes you need to go backwards in order to be catapulted into wherever you're going. Whether that means you need to go backwards and deal with something from your past that's holding you back, or you need to go backwards because you're holding so much baggage towards this one incident that no longer represents this new version of you that you're coming into. I do think that God, the universe, whatever you believe in, does put situations in our lives to where I feel like we have to go backwards in order to retrieve something that we missed along the way in order to get to our next path, which is so crazy because I'm getting an analogy of, like, say you're on a quest, your own life's quest, and you're passing all these paths and you're getting through it, and then you get to one path that's gonna require a little bit more strength from you, a little bit more courage from you, something that you, another level, another version of you. Say you don't have something to get past that quest or past that path, maybe you have to go back to something in your past and see how it's allowing you to operate to where you can't get through that path. And sometimes we just got to go backwards. We got to retrace our steps. That's what we just have to do in order to get to that next phase of life. And I find myself in that position where I've had to humble myself and deal with the pain and the grief of losing my mom, and also dealing with the pain and the grief of my family situation and what has transpired over the past years. I have realized that I've had to go backwards. And just because we're going backwards does not mean that it's something wrong with us or we're doing something wrong. The fact that you can actually go backwards kind of shows you how much humility and grace and power and confidence you have in yourself and in your journey, because you know that you have to go deal with something that you may have overlooked or you didn't think was very important, but now you find yourself in a season where that is important. So it is really an experience when you are in a situation where you have to go retrace your steps like a slingshot. You got to go backwards in order to be catapulted forward. But once you go backwards and you deal with what you have to deal with, once you go backwards and you really uproot those things that don't serve you no more, and now it's time to go into a new season with a clear heart, a clear mind, and a lightheartedness that you didn't have as you had kept going with what you had bringing you down. Once you let that go, when it's go time, you're gonna be catapulted into your next season, into your next life. It's a process. I'm learning it's a process. I'm learning that I'd rather go slow. I'd rather take my time. I'd rather even go backwards towards some things that I might be getting stuck on. Maybe there's a lesson I didn't specifically learn. I'd rather go back if I know that going back, fixing that, reprioritizing that, and creating a new way of seeing that and healing whatever that is, I'd rather do that work if I know that in the future I'm going to skyrocket to success. I'm going to skyrocket to all my dreams and desires and the life that I want to live. I'd rather do that. And so I'm here to encourage you and let you know that if you are someone that is going, you feel like you're going backwards, that is a great thing, because that means that there is something that you still need to work on, and you're being called to work on that so that you can move forward to your next season. So I know it can be frustrating. It's a very frustrating process when you find yourself having to go backwards. But just remember, it's a slingshot. You are gaining momentum so that you can fly off into the sunset towards your next way of living. And just know that this is upgrading this version of you. I find myself having to continue to think about the slingshot effect simply because you could get discouraged and you can get on a path of just frustration because things aren't necessarily working out the way that you expected it. Sometimes things don't go the way that we plan or expect it to, but even through that, we may expect a certain thing to happen a certain way, and as humans we do have expectations on what we think things should look like. But what if those things turn out way better than we could have imagined? What if what we thought we wanted was actually not what we wanted or needed, but what's to come is actually way better than we could have ever imagined? I always try to think about that when I'm trusting the process, because trusting the process can look very ugly. Okay, it can look very ugly and very just uncertain. But I promise you, if you just keep staying on that path of consistency, keep doing the inner work, keep going backwards so that you can be pulled forward, you'll thank yourself later. And I'm in that season where I'm starting to reap the benefits of the work that I have done, the grieving that I have done, the therapy I have done, the talking to God and having a closer relationship with God that I have done, the journaling. I'm starting to see the results of the hard work that I've been putting into myself. And if you would have told me this before I started this journey, I would have literally never have thought that it would have worked out. I just went off of blind faith, and I'm here to tell you like that this works if you actually trust the process. So if you find yourself in a season where you're going backwards and you have to move forward and you're like, what's happening? Trust the process. Just continue to trust the process, and things will continue to work out for you. I promise you. I am a living product of that. Like, I'm not supposed to be here where I'm at because there are so many pitfalls along the way in my journey that could have kept me stuck. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to stay stuck. And just because you're going backwards does not mean that you are stuck, but it's actually a great indication that you are about to be catapulted into so much success. Success that you've never thought that you could have or have seen before. And I mean not success in a traditional sense. I mean success in happiness, joy, peace, friendships, okay? Money could be a byproduct of that as well, but it's not always about the money. Success looks different for everyone. So I'm just here to encourage you that things are working out for you, and things are going to turn out way better than you could ever expect, because they are for me. I love you guys, and I hope that this video helped you, and I will see you in the next video.